You can make this rustic American flag with a single 1x6 from your local lumber yard. A few years back, I wanted to make a gift for a family member, and I decided the wooden American flag would be the best fit. So I took a trip to the lumber yard and picked up a 1x6. Now I knew I was going to lay out the stars with a stencil, so I picked one up from Amazon and determined the flag dimensions based on the size of the canton. That's the blue area where all the stars are. It's also called the Union. Now the stencil I used was 10 inches wide and 7 inches tall. And since there are 7 stripes butting up to the canton, the height of those stripes needed to be 1 inch each. And since there are 13 stripes in all, that meant my flag would be 13 inches tall. Now I looked up a flag calculator. I've added a link for that in the description below. And based on my flag height of 13 inches, it determined my flag should be 24 and 11/16 inches long. Next step, table saw. I ripped the 1x6 into 13 1-inch wide strips and then cut them to length. I wanted my flag to look somewhat rustic, so to give it that worn look, I took a wire brush and just scraped the wood along the grain. This is surprisingly quick work with pine lumber, so not bad at all. And since I was going with a distressed look, there was no need for sanding later. That's always a win. After distressing the strips, I clamped them together, no gluing, and used a propane torch to lightly burnish the wood. I only wanted a touch of this for the look I was going after. And while the strips were clamped together, I laid my canton symbol on the flag and marked out the outline of the blue area. Now as you can see, I left the white strips just natural, but I needed to paint the red strips in the blue Union area. I used a product called Unicorn Spit for the painting. It's a wonderful, deeply colored product that can be watered down and it'll act like a stain. It soaked into the wood grain instead of just coating the top like paint would. This can pose a problem for the strips where the red and the blue meet. Wood grain has a tendency to soak up stain and then wick the stain along the grain. It wouldn't pull it very far, but it'd be enough to make a fuzzy line where the two colors meet. I didn't want that, and I certainly didn't want the blue to bleed over into the natural strips. That would definitely be noticeable. So I got a pack of razor blades, and after releasing the stripes from the clamp, I lightly tapped the blades into the stripes in order to break the grain fibers between color sections. I painted up to the razor blade on each side, and it left a crisp, clean line. Perfect. After the stripes dried, I assembled them using some strips I made from the remainder of my 1x6. And I then used the stencil to mark the outline of the 50 stars. This takes a while, so be patient. I used a small chisel to mark the edges of the stars, and I finished them with a Dremel tool set to a shallow depth to remove the material inside the outlined stars. This left the stars as natural color against the blue Union, and it was perfect for the rustic look I was going after. Overall, the project turned out exactly as I envisioned it. It had a worn, vintage look to it. If you like this project, comment "Hell yeah" in the comments below. I'll catch you on the next one.